Continuation with my Read Aloud series from Indian Economic Development textbook for class 11. I'm finishing off chapter 7 on that is employment growth, informalization and other issues. And after you hear that chapter, you will understand a few basic concepts relating to employment such as economic activity, worker, workforce and unemployment. You will also understand the nature of participation of men and women in various economic activities in various sectors, and you will know the nature and extent of unemployment, and you will be able to assess the initiatives taken by the government in generating employment opportunities in various sectors and regions. So for that I'll be showing you some photographs. This figure depicts self-employment, and that is by the prodding of the multinational companies who sell footballs made in the houses of Jalandhar, Punjab. This figure 7.3 shows garment workers, the upcoming factory employment for women. Generally you'll see women are there. Figure 7.4 shows informal sector employment by these vendors. Looks like fishes are being sold here. This is the roadside vending that you can see, and in this picture what we can see is workers informal. This is a graph, formal and informal sector, in which number of workers in millions are shown here. On the y-axis, on the x-axis we have formal and informal. Male is shown by this gray portion and the female is black. And of course the first one is not really very clear, but the second is very clear, that in the informal sector females are 131 million and the males are 300. You must check your books to see more of it. I've read out this box in the previous class, and in this it is informalization in Ahmedabad, how a formal sector of the cotton mills was pushed into informal, because in the 80s most textile mills all over the country began to close down, and rapidly, Mumbai rapidly, Ahmedabad it took time. So they've talked about this, and here it's written, change in the balance of power in a house. An unemployed mill worker peeling garlic, whereas his wife has a new job of beedi rolling. So they, once these were mill workers, have been thrown into the informal sector of casual laborers. Another picture 7.6 here shows sugarcane cutters, and it shows disguised unemployment is common in farm workers, which means that if you take away a few workers, the job can be done equally efficiently. And in my shorts I have defined what is disguised unemployment. This is figure 7.5, where unemployed mill workers waiting for casual jobs, but actually you see such people in many places, in certain places, where they wait for people to employ them as casual laborers for that particular day. This is figure 7.7, which shows dam construction workers, which is a direct way of employment generation by the government. So this is it. Interestingly, I came across this advertisement in a very old newspaper scrap that was lying at home. It is dated 2008, August 17 of the Hindustan Times. So just let me go through that. Very interesting. Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME it's known as. You can see it here. So this is an advertisement. Government of India launches a new scheme to empower first generation entrepreneurs to set up micro enterprises on 15th August 2008, the 61st anniversary of Indian independence, and the name is Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, PMEGP. So very interesting. They have written certain salient, what are the salient features out there. So I'm just going to read a few of them, and it is like for a credit linked central sector scheme, then rupees 15,000 crore estimated total credit flow in the scheme for setting up micro enterprises across the country, and government subsidy will be provided so much, then so many lakh additional employment opportunity will be created between the years 2008-9 to 2011-12 in rural and urban areas of the country. Higher rate of government subsidy for marginalized section of society for promoting inclusive growth. BPL, below poverty line families, also eligible for assistance under the scheme. So many lakh maximum cost limit for project unit under manufacturing sector, and say rupees 10 lakh under business service sector. Then minimum educational qualification, that is 8th pass for manufacturing sector, about rupees 10 lakh, and above rupees 5 lakh for business sector. Then backward and forward linkages, support for awareness, project formulation, entrepreneurship development program, EDP, training of 2 or 3 weeks duration, marketing support, electronic tracking of applications of beneficiaries, etc. envisaged. And then you have hand holding through Rajiv Gandhi Udyami Mitra Yojana for beneficiaries under PMEGP. Then you have project profiles will be provided for selection of projects for beneficiaries. KYIC, that is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, a statutory body under the Ministry of MSME, that is Ministry of Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises, will be the single nodal agency for implementation of the scheme at the national level. The scheme will be implemented by KYC, State Khadi and Village Industries Boards, KVIBs, in rural areas as defined under KVIC Act, and by District Industries Centers, DICs, in urban and other rural areas. Special focus with higher rate of subsidy for rural areas under the scheme. At least 60% outlay will be earmarked for setting up of projects in rural areas. Involvement of public sector banks for expeditious and regular credit flow, and dovetailing credit guarantee fund trust schemes to help the entrepreneurs for collateral security free loans. And they made the subsidy levels under the PMEGP. So PM, Prime Minister's, EM, that is Employment Generation, EGP, that is PMEGP, are as under. So categories and beneficiaries. So you have the area, then general, then special, including SC, STs, OBCs, minorities, women, ex-servicemen, physically handicapped, NER, hill and border areas, and own contribution and rate of subsidies of the cost of project. So in area, that is general 10%, own contribution and rate of subsidies, urban 15% and rural 25%, and in special, that is 0.5% own contribution, and the rate of subsidies as high as 25% urban and 35% rural. Isn't that so interesting? I just was going to throw this while cleaning, so it's good that I can use it like this. So finally, I'm reading from box 7.1, formal sector employment. So in this, it's written that the information relating to employment in the formal sector is collected by the Union Ministry of Labour through employment exchanges located in different parts of the country. Do you know who is the major employer in formal sector in India? In 2010, out of about 29 million formal sector workers, about 18 million workers were employed by the public sector. Here, also men form the majority, as women constitute only about one-sixth of the formal sector workforce. Economists point out that the reform process initiated in the early 1990s resulted in a decline in the number of workers employed in the formal sector. So they've asked you, why do you think so? Well, I found this very interesting, and for those of you for whom education is a pleasure, please do it. Do this activity. In your house or neighborhood, you might come across many women who, even though they have technical degrees and diplomas and also free time to go to work, do not go to work. Ask them the reasons for not going to work. List all of them and discuss in the classroom whether they should go for work and why, and also ways by which they could be sent for work. Some social scientists argue that housewives working at home without getting paid for that work must also be regarded as contributing to the GNP, gross national product, and therefore as engaged in an economic activity. The question is, would you agree?